Hey everyone, this is Walter, and I'm back with more posts and stories I found on Reddit. Today we're back with more nice guys, men who make it their entire personality to be really nice, especially to women. Oh, I wonder why they're nicer to women. I'm sure it's out of good intentions. Anyway, let's get into it with nice guys from Reddit. These posts come to us from Reddit Nice Guys. I recently moved to the West Coast after living in Chicago for the past 22 years. I always knew West Coast women would be more promiscuous than what I was used to. I only care about a woman's body count when we're in a relationship or emotions are involved. I've been seeing this girl for a few weeks now, and I do honestly like her for some reason. I can't necessarily pinpoint why anymore because of the overthinking, and I wish that would stop. When we first met, she would talk about her exes a fair amount. She stopped the second I said it made me uncomfortable, and she never has again. Well, I went through her phone one night, and I wish I hadn't. Oh, this idiot. He's seeking out answers that he doesn't actually want. By the way, I can't imagine snooping through someone's phone. What a lack of respect. I guess if I had to describe her as blunt as possible, she's a girl who used to act slutty on the internet and thinks that guys on the West Coast are turned on by these type of women. To an extent, she is actually correct. West Coast raised boys definitely care significantly less about a body count, and some are even turned on by a high one. I will agree to this. However, I'm far from one of these people. One morning, it was just so on my mind I had to ask. I just very bluntly asked how many people she's had sex with. She immediately asked men, women, or just men. And a part of me felt disappointed she had to break it down that much. A part of me was relieved, because in my definition of sex, women can't have sex with each other, so I knew our perspectives were different. Yeah, this nerd's like, technically, this is what sex is. We are far into semantics here. When I said just men, she said she would have to stop and think about it for a second. I sheepishly asked more than 10, and she said probably. An hour or two passed, and I just out of nowhere, but matter of fact said, there's no way we have the same definition of sex. There is no way that you were 25 years old and had sex with more than 10 people. Mind you, I never talked to her this way. I am very guilty of putting her on such a pedestal, so it was a very different interaction. Despite her being the kind of girl who has a quick-witted response to everything, for once, she stopped what she was doing and looked me dead in the eyes and said, I think you're absolutely right. Thoughts? Opinions? I absolutely love this girl, but I'm having a very hard time looking at her the way I once did, and I'm just pleading with God for that perspective back. I've met her family and they all love me already. The feeling is mutual. Because of where our lives are at, we've already been through so much together. Please, just help me change my own perspective. The only way I can see you as a woman worthy of me is to redefine sex so you haven't had any. Brilliant. Yeah, we're working with the Bill Clinton definition of sex here. It's a very specific act in this guy's mind. It's like with Two Worlds, he didn't count himself as losing his virginity the first time because he didn't come. Who wrote the rules for this stupid shit? His perspective of views on sex being drastically different on the West Coast as opposed to Chicago struck me as odd. I mean, I've never been to Chicago, but I can't imagine it's that different. He sounds like a scared guy from Nowheresville, Midwest in the 60s, terrified of the free-loving hippies. I had no idea people still thought like this. But more troubling, he also says they've only been together a few weeks. That he's so in love with her that he's already invested with her family and shit, and feels comfortable and entitled to be spying on her phone? We've been through so much together. What, in less than a month? Fucking yikes. This guy is a piece of work and I hope she gets out, soon. He was just really hoping that she only blinked into existence the second he met her and had no history with other people. That's all. Yeah, as a man who used to be a gentleman, who used to be a nice guy, I learned the hard way. I sacrificed my heart time and time again, only to be cheated on, disrespected, talked down to, even physically assaulted in my own house. No woman will ever get the gentleman out of me until after they have proven they are worth it. They will never get the benefit of the doubt out of me. And I'll probably finish my life alone. Good riddance. Modern women are disgusting. By the way, I don't usually call this out, but good riddance, modern women are disgusting is not the virtue claim here, actually. The part where he calls himself a nice guy or a gentleman, those are the virtue claims. It's not that I don't feel for him if he was assaulted, but this formerly a nice guy, now an asshole thing is always a bad sign from what I've seen. Someone who's actually a gentleman wouldn't even say that. Gonna keep ignoring me, bitch? Always gonna go for some dickwad Chad who will just use and abuse you. Why not go for a nice guy like me who can actually treat you right? Well, fuck this shit. I guess this is what I get for trying to be a nice guy, who will always put women first. Well, no more. Not wasting my time on a loser like you anymore. Hope you get AIDS from the next abusive jock you suck off, you slut. He sure sounds like a nice guy. You know, I started my first channel like 6 years ago now, and the general public had no idea what incels were back then. But they know now, so it blows my mind that people are out here yelling about Chad unironically in the year of our Lord 2023. Opens with calling her a bitch, goes on to say in the next breath that he's nice. Yeah, I don't think so. Accuses Chad of being the abusive one, all while vomiting verbal abuse all over the place. Moron. This one got the virtue claim wrong too. Guess it must be too complicated for Redditors. Americans seem so gentlemanly. Girl, I'm so sorry. I mean, a lot have had to adapt based on our culture shift, and therefore lose chivalry. Well, you can thank feminists for that. When you bitch a guy holds a door open calling him sexist, don't act offended when he slams it in your face instead. LMAO, the fact that you brought feminism into this conversation proves that you're insecure. Who hurt you, babes? I kind of doubt anyone's going to call you sexist for holding open a door, unless you do an exaggerated bow, tip your fedora and say milady, or something cringy like that. Is that what chivalry is? Yes, I'm a gentleman to women, not feminists. You are what you attract. We used to be, but the American women fucking killed that. I mean, you might want to pay some credence to why men say they hold female interactions to a minimum. No, we would know after all. We would be the people who know. A lot of us grew up being told by our fathers how to act with women. We went into high school thinking, great, I know how this works, then ended up being called a simp when they offered a girl their jacket on a chilly day. Or bought a girl flowers to ask her out. I know that was me back in high school. Then once that way of acting went south, you either shut down or act like the scumbags that have success with women, and a lot simply refuse to act that way, so they disconnect. My favorite is when they hold the door to an entryway that has a second set of doors inside, like at my gym. You held that door for me, I hold the door for you. That's kind of my instinct, right? Apparently that is the wrong answer. I've had 3 guys open the door next to it rather than walk through the one I'm holding open. Bet money they're the same guys who insist equality means they get to punch women. Yeah, they probably went home and complained about the interaction on Reddit, right? Then I guess I'll just have to show you. Just know I would have happily taken you on a sunset picnic, but your profile didn't give those vibes. What does that mean? It means the way you choose to display yourself has an impact on the type of guys you attract, as well as their intentions. You attracted a tall and kind, 6 figures a month kind of guy. But due to the provocative profile, it was assumed you're interested in hookups rather than a meaningful experience, if that makes any sense. Ah, I see, so it's her fault that he messaged her trying to hook up. It was completely out of his control. Your message before this conversation was sexual, which I never responded to. If I only wanted to hook up, don't you think I would have replied? Insulting me does not change the situation. When you say the type of guys I attract, you do realize you're talking about yourself. Saying I don't want a meaningful experience when you don't even know me makes no sense. Whoa, never meant to insult you. Just explaining the situation as I saw it. Intentions were to help you understand why, if it happens, the majority of the guys you meet off the app are trying to hook up instead of trying to take things seriously. Sorry for the misunderstanding, lol. Only good intentions here. Wish you the best. Look at this guy acting like he wasn't throwing shade with that shit. Oh, okay then. I would disagree. A lot of men want an actual relationship, especially after getting to know each other. I don't need to understand why because it's not a problem, but thank you for the input. So if that's what you want, then we're the lucky guy. Or are you just extra picky? Picky. Understandable. Let's give it a shot then. When are you free? He's tall, rich, and completely delusional apparently. That last message just blew my mind. I mean, I've been following this sub for a while now, so it shouldn't come as a surprise to me. But it amazes me that there are people who will look at the previous conversation and think they still have anything even remotely approaching a chance at a shot. Yeah, I think they might have been having completely different conversations. I had a guy sub to my OnlyFans when I was doing it solo, and when I started dating, my boyfriend wanted to help me with it. So the guy who subbed to me got upset, and I broke his heart and said I cheated on him. This is someone my boyfriend knows in person also. I find it a bit creepy knowing who is subbed to me and that they are pretty personally close to people I know. He sent me love bombs in the form of notes and gifts in the mail trying to win me back as if we were together in the first place. Extra context, I'm not friends with him. I don't even know him till my boyfriend came around and he made up an entire relationship in his head after he saw my OnlyFans for the first time. Yeesh, some people really need to learn the definition of parasocial relationship. I would not subscribe to the OnlyFans of someone I know in most situations. I mean, it could be fine depending on the person, but I think most people will find that pretty weird. By the way, you know Russell Greer, the ultimate nice guy who dressed in a suit and brought flowers for a stripper and got mad when she blocked him? He's been teasing a pop song he wants to release called She Don't Like Nice Guys. It has passed several release dates, and I don't think he's released it yet. Correct me if I'm wrong and you know. The man, the myth, the legend. Just trying to live my best life and share my talents. Would love to be successful in the entertainment industry. Well, good luck with that, Russ. We'll be back with more dedicated content of him soon enough, but I'll be sure to let you know if he ever drops this song. Some women have a hard time appreciating men. Those women tend to focus on what isn't right instead of what is. So those females will criticize the 10% that isn't working perfectly and ignore the 90% that worked. And that 90% was way more than you would have had otherwise. Just imagine anytime that man did anything for you, you treated it like a gift and expressed lots of appreciation. Remember, appreciation is a fuel that motivates a man to want to do more for you. Okay, how is this a gendered thing? Do men also not fail to appreciate people and focus on the negatives? That sounds like general human behavior to me. I've never met a man who's fueled by appreciation, including the one I married. This guy makes relationships out to be purely transactional partnership, and that's just wrong. It's cooperative. Both partners have to be engaged, and it's successful because you care for the other person, flaws and all. My husband has never expected me to fall onto my knees to show him appreciation when he makes a meal. Maybe on his birthday, if he's lucky. I make it a point to ignore the opinions of guys who say females like this too. Yeah, I really don't like how fragile these guys make men seem, because a lot of us aren't. Why is it that when I hold the door open for ladies or girls, they rarely say thanks anymore? I've run across this, and yes, most of the time, it's females that never utter a word of thanks. I'll never figure it out. What is he talking about? Everyone always says thank you when I hold open the door for them. I'm always suspicious on hearing this one, because I once overheard a guy I had just met bemoaning how he had just held the door open for some bitch and she hadn't bothered to thank him, in very much this kind of way. By his description of the outfit said bitch was wearing, he was in fact talking about me, and I had very definitely thanked him when he had indeed held a door for me. And he had absolutely heard me do so. Oh, so they're just making it up? I guess that makes sense. After years of whoring, she settles for a nice guy who will ignore her past. Don't be that nice guy. Alright, one more post. I'm sorry, I can't focus. I'm a little horny, but I won't let it affect anything. Okay, I didn't really want to hear that. Sorry, I'm just being honest. How's your day so far? Wow, if I didn't know any better, I'd think that was an insincere apology. My day was good until you sent me that message. So yeah. Oh, I said sorry already. I was just in the wrong headspace, and I wanted to let you know. Being in the wrong headspace is not an excuse to send someone an unsolicited sexual comment when we were having a normal conversation. I said I'm sorry? I just wanted to be honest with you. I didn't want to hide it. It would have been better if you just hid it, to be honest. Like, do I care if you're horny? I was having a normal conversation with you until you hit me up with unsolicited information. Yeah, I mean, I guess you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, but he also missed this shot. I told you before, I'm not the type of girl who you can just send this to anytime without even asking if it's okay. You did it without my consent, and it made me feel very uncomfortable. You're being too dramatic. I just made a small mistake, that's it. You did the exact thing I told you not to do. You'll be like 25 this year. You should know not to send shit like that to girls, because of course it's going to turn them off. Anyway, I'll go now because I don't want to waste any more brain cells trying to teach you basic human decency. Okay, I feel offended now. You're really getting this twisted. I'm mature, headstrong, and one of the nicest men out there. I've treated you like a goddess so far, and when I make a small mistake, admit it, and even apologize for it, you just get abusive. I think we're not on the same page. I need some time. Yeah, saying you're horny in the middle of a totally safe for work conversation is you being nice after I told you countless times that I don't feel comfortable with it this early on. You break my boundaries and then you play the victim. Okay, bud, best of luck. You see, that's why you're single. Aren't you single too? Not for long, but you'll probably die alone. He's like, she should be thanking me for not sending a dick pic. He even said he treated her like a goddess too. Always a good sign, and definitely something most women want. Anyway, it's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please give it a like. If you have something to say, make sure you let me hear it in the comments. I'll be here reading them while the video's new. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more of the same and whatever else I come up with. Big thanks also to my amazing patrons who help support me more directly over on Patreon. And thanks to the people who send me money on PayPal because they don't want to use Patreon. That's also really helpful. I'm feeling a bit better physically, so I think there will be more content in the near future. Hopefully including some Reddit Let's Not Meet, which I've probably never done on this channel before, but it's appropriate for October. Mostly stalker stories. Have a great day, everyone, and make sure you profusely thank any nice guy who opens a door.